allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the spring city council meeting to order, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the agenda at this time and add a public forum after number 4. For some reason, we skipped the public forum.
Well, public forum's on number 10.
I
That's where
realize
we've always had it at.
we usually have 2, one at the top and at the bottom. If we don't have 2, it doesn't.
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
You need to turn that down. Turn it back to where it was. We're gonna get feedback
Well,
on
then you're gonna have to speak now.
it. Well, I wouldn't approve that.
It's not up to you, I moved, it has to be.
Oh, you made a motion?
I made a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved. And what exactly was the motion to move it to what?
To after number 4, right before we start the main business part.
The approval of the agenda after,
I move to add a public forum after number 4.
so you wanna call it 4A? You're talking about after the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes, you can call it 4A or whatever.
Okay,
Have we had a early public forum since March?
no, we've never had a public forum.
We've always had 2 days. I didn't bring my past history with me, but
I remember having one when Roger was here, I didn't know if we've had them since Mark took over.
Yeah, we got a motion on the floor.
discussion.
Yeah, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion failed, 3-2.
Serious?
I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So,
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. I entertain a motion on number 4, approval of the consent agenda. We have a motion? Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, approval of the consent agenda, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 5-0. Number 5, ordinance number 1496.
I've had some people approach me about, vehicles being parked for extended periods of time on city streets and basically using them as a parking lot. So I got with Quentin and I worked with him and, we had our city attorney review it, and so basically put together an ordinance here that, would allow us to, fine anybody that leaves a vehicle sitting on the street for more than 7 consecutive days without it moving. So, I don't think that's unreasonable. I've done some looking around, there's some other cities around us that have, they're right in that 7 days, in that 7-day window as well.
It's done a lot worse. It's done with grass growing
Yeah.
up to the window.
And that's the ones that, I mean, it's not a parking lot, it's a city street.
I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1496.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion?
The only thing I have a question on is, maybe we could add trailers. Over here on 4th Street, there's a trailer. Does that fall under vehicle?
There is already an ordinance for trailers. It's in the STO book for if they're not attached to a vehicle, they can't be parked in the street.
There's one over here at 4th Street, it's been there for months.
Okay.
It's got grass growing up this tall.
Okay.
Okay,
Any
that's all.
further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Number 6, ordinance 1497. Mr. Stiles.
What you have in your packet is an ordinance that would call for the election. Questioning charter ordinance 22, which the city council was taking action on earlier. There was a petition that was delivered to City Hall on October the 5th. The ordinance you see is in reflection to the election secretary finding that there were sufficient eligible signatures of qualified electors in the city of Marion to take this to a vote of the people. The reason it's on the council agenda tonight is I was wishful or hopeful, I think, that I would have dates for you to consider. The election secretary is being due diligence in consulting with the state, being very cautious to make sure that she does everything right. She does not have answers back from the state yet. Once she has, we will have another meeting. This ordinance will be put in front of you with dates for your consideration. As such, I would ask that the ordinance be tabled until such time as we can get those dates and come back to you.
Any questions? Discussion? And I would move that we table this ordinance 1497 to a future date, to get more information on it. regarding it. Second,
Again, that election, second.
then move second, further discussion.
I'll second. Chris didn't second, he just waited for a
Okay.
second. I'll second it.
We can't move any faster if we do something tonight.
No, sir, we cannot. We don't have those dates
Right.
that I can come to you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling ordinance 1497 to future date, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Number 7, Elgin Hotel Grant Application, letter of support. Margot?
I was asked to write a letter of support, for the city, for the Elgin to apply for a Heritage Trust Fund grant, and just like permission to do that. It doesn't cost the city anything, she's simply asking for a letter of support. She's going to request $90,000 to renovate the veranda, fix 20 interior windows that are rotten and damaged, and secure the foundation because it seems to be settling. And so the total cost will probably be around $180,000, and she will have to front all the money, and then they will reimburse her for 50% up to the $90,000 if she's awarded the grant.
Okay,
So, may I have permission to submit that, please?
I would so move to approve the letter of support for the Elgin Hotel grant. Second?
Second.
Moving second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
5-0. Number 8, consider to take action on petition as presented by Chelsea Mackey. Chelsea, you wanna come forward to the microphone, please? I don't have a petition here.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you have a petition you wanna present to the council?
I do.
Okay, you can come forward and do that if you wish.
Absolutely, thank you for seeing me. This is regarding the ordinance on the signs that hang over the sidewalk in front of the buildings between Walnut and Elm Street on Main.
And it would be to allow
To allow,
those
yes,
signs?
to allow the signs.
And the city does have a sign ordinance or policy that would need to be revised in order to allow this to
25-503.
Okay, thank you.
Is this something we probably need to send it to planning and zoning, is that right?
I think that's kind of the normal process.
I think that's what we've done in the past, kind of something similar to this. Yeah. You want me to pass it on? Yeah. I mean,
It's 503.
my, opinions have been verbalized in the past, so, I'd make a motion to, send this to planning and zoning, have them consider, Ms. Mackey's petition and take action on it to revise our signage code, to allow perpendicular signage, using cities of similar size. Some of them that I looked at were McPherson, Lindsborg, and Council Grove, but I definitely would not limit it to that, so, as a reference.
Well, this would take more than that, wouldn't it?
Well, it'll have to go to P and G, they'll make a recommendation back to the council.
Right.
And
Then we take,
that, absolutely, final
Right.
authority is yours.
So I'm just making a motion to have planning and zoning look at it, take it under consideration.
okay. I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9, council, anyone have anything they wanna speak on?
Margot, thank you.
Yeah,
I noticed our golf hole is gone, so
Yeah.
thank you.
it's out of there. You're welcome.
Anyone else? Clinton,
Got nothing.
okay, Margot, you have anything to report?
No.
Okay, Tiffany? Mark?
The electrical upgrade continues to take place in town, our crews continue to go in front of them and, clean the pathway out so that they can move faster and make things go better for us. We continue to address the situation at the water treatment plant with the ozone generators. Our water is still fine, we tested and passed all the tests that we have to, but we do continue to work on the ozone generator situation. We're moving as quick as we can, but we're doing it at such a pace that we don't waste our money. Because, addressing an ozone generation system is not cheap,
Okay,
that's all I got.
alright.
Mark, can I just ask
Yeah.
a question? On the tree cutting where they're trimming in front of the electrical company, are they cutting those trees back so they far enough that they won't grow back next year?
You know, that is a relative question of opinion. If it's your tree, we're probably trimming it back too far. If you're maintaining the electrical line, you always want to take it back further. Trees are beautiful, there's what make a town what it is, but trees and electric line and sidewalks do not get along. So, you know, we're kind of trying to find that happy medium where it's safe and efficient, but we maintain the integrity and beauty of the tree, and sometimes that's pretty hard to do.
Thank you.
And anyone else? Public forum, anyone wish to speak to the council? During the public forum?
My opportunity,
Sure.
thank you.
We limit it to 5 minutes, okay?
I understand, I'll try to keep it to that. Welcome, thank you for allowing us to come and speak. Today, I'm representing those that signed the petition, pertaining to Charter Ordinance number 22. I want to thank you also for recognizing our petition and, calling for a special election at the time you will be holding it. I'd like to thank the, Marion Record for keeping us informed on the actions of what's happening in the council pertaining to charter ordinances and so forth. Because as citizens, sometimes we don't read as carefully as we do on the ordinances, and it slips by us. No fault of yours, fault of us that don't read everything that is being published. We have concerns, about it, because back as many years since I've lived in Marion, which is now over 50, there's only been 9 or 10 years that I've not been a taxpayer. And we want to certainly be as efficient with our tax money as we possibly can. And I have never in my recall,
know of a bond issue that has failed when the citizens have been asked to vote on anything. You know, back whenever we first went to the reservoir for water, we had a $500,000 bond issue at that time, was quite large, probably would be over 2 million today. And it passed just with a great majority, and because we got out and sold it. And that also was at the time that we had Jimmy Carter as our president. And if you don't recall, and some of you may be too young, Zach, is the fact that our interest rates were absolutely out of sight. We were paying 17 and 18% interest on those bonds. It was a necessity at the time. So I'm a little confused as to why the city thinks that they have to pass a charter ordinance. You know, I look at it as almost like you're taking action like the federal government, of passing down these mandates that the cities and the states have to deal with without any funding or anything to back it. And I keep hearing this thing that if we don't pass the charter ordinance, it's going to cost us more money and it's going to cause the mill levy increase. And that confuses me a little bit. I don't know where that came from, but I have heard it. I gave you a sheet of information that I wrote on my concerns about the charter ordinance. I think you're cutting the citizens of Marion out of the picture entirely of being able to work with the city for future plans. I'm concerned also where the master plan is for this potential project, and realizing that when you pass charter ordinance like this, this is going to go on forever until another council comes in and amends it. And that concerns me. You're taking our voice away from us. And, you know, way back when we had the pride committees going and everything, we were a very active community. And we worked hard to help the city with a lot of activities and duties that were responsibilities that may have been at that time, even the city responsibilities. But we did that because we're very, how shall I say it? We like living in Marion. We like to continue to have our voice about what's happening in Marion. And with the charter ordinance, you're taking it away totally. And so I'm just really concerned as to why the need.
Okay. Well, first of all, your statement that somebody made to you about this is gonna raise the mill levy is absolutely wrong. I mean, it's not gonna raise the mill levy if we utilize utility funds to make payments on it. It's not gonna raise the mill levy if we utilize sales tax to make payments on it.
I agree.
I'm sorry?
I said I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
My concern is the fact that
But
that,
what
what
this charter ordinance does, it allows us to utilize that sales tax money for bond payment. We can't do that now because it's only for economic development purposes.
You can't amend that ordinance or resolution that was passed governing that?
No. It was voted on by the public to raise the sales tax 0.75% for
Right.
making the payment on the industrial park, and any excess funds could be utilized for economic development. That's all it can be used for right now. But with this capital improvement plan that we would have, which would identify public improvement, for public improvement purposes, we can now utilize that sales tax, but only if this charter ordinance is passed.
Oh, I'm sorry, I must be confused because I thought the charter ordinance, not charter ordinance, excuse me, but the sales tax, part of the purpose of the sales tax was to go toward like improvements to the industrial park.
Improvements to the industrial park would be economic development,
Right?
having an economic development director, and paying for the budget for the economic development director. The sales tax money can be utilized for that.
Okay,
But we could utilize, if we wanted to do, for example, some additional streets in town with the charter ordinance and the streets being in the capital improvement plan, the streets could be bonded and utilizing the 0.75% sales tax to pay for the bond.
okay, then may I ask you why? Is this new wording, or is this just in the charter ordinance 22? The acquisition of land, acquisition of equipment, vehicles, or other personal property, an assumption of payment benefits of a benefit district indebtedness created for public improvements? Is that new?
Is that new in the ordinance? That would be a new
I
portion
mean,
of
is
it.
that new, I mean, is there, other ordinances that pertain to you having the ability to approve this without a vote?
Well, that's with the vote
Cause
of
that's
the
what the
council.
charter ordinance is doing.
But it's
giving
gotta be
you-
in the capital improvement plan also. We can't just go and go buy new vehicles and bond them without it being in the capital improvement plan.
I've been in your seat, so I know pretty well somewhat what you can and can't do.
They're in
Please
horrible
forgive me.
condition, yeah.
So, I understand that, but this is just a little confusing, the way it's worded. And again, I forgive us as citizens for not reading more closely what you published about the Charter Ordinance 22. Because to us, it sounded like you were cutting the public out from ever being able to vote on any capital improvements of any consequence that calls a bond issue.
There is, an exception in that charter ordinance that you can have the public, the voting public can, sign a petition and then it can be brought to a vote.
Why a petition? Why can't it not just be published as we did in the past? I know I'm going back to the past, and I know things move forward with, supposedly with progress, but why cut the citizens out of the vote to begin with? And have to have them file a petition?
So we can utilize sales tax money to make bond payments on certain things.
And we can't vote on that?
We can't use it right now.
I know you can't use it right now, but we cannot
Okay,
vote on it?
if we do a bond, a general obligation bond, that can only be, paid for example, there are certain general obligation bonds that we can go ahead and issue without the public vote.
Right,
But there are some of them that you do have to public vote on.
Right.
Okay, and the ones that we have to do that way, you would have to raise the mill levy to make the bond payment. With this charter ordinance, we could do that same project and utilize sales tax money to make the payment. Without this charter ordinance, we can't do that. We can only use it for economic development purposes. That's the only reason we even considered doing this, so we could utilize that sales tax money.
well, why
It's
wasn't
bringing
that
in
explained to the public to begin with?
$240,000 a year.
That's what I'm asking too. Why wasn't it, explained to the public whenever you passed it and published it? I try to be as knowledgeable as possible about what's happening in this community.
Sure, I understand that, but how would we go about doing that?
Well, I
The
would think-
newspaper's not gonna print it, they printed what they wanted to print. They didn't tell you the part about the sales tax money that we were gonna try to utilize if this charter ordinance passed. They left that part out and they knew about that.
Well, I'm just very disappointed that they can't seem to be, working together more and having all of these difficulties within our community, that it's published in the paper, right, wrong, or indifferent. We have a right to know what's going on.
Okay,
And this just really upset me, having been a public official for 9 years. Whenever you can't read between the lines and read that it's just for the sales tax. And you can't read between the lines that it's not ever gonna change, and that we have to file a petition in order for any general obligation bond that we're opposed to.
okay,
There's nothing in this that says that.
it is in the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
It is in a part of the ordinance that you can file a petition and vote. But I think what we need to do is allow the public, you've been asking for a vote
And I
on
think,
this,
thank you
and
for
we've
that.
got the petition now. Thanks to Darvin, we've got it in, it's been certified, and we need to let the public, the rest of the public vote on it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I
Okay.
do agree with that. I just feel that there are just some things in the ordinance, the charter ordinance 22, that the general public with the wording of it is not gonna understand unless there is some sort of notice or written comments in the paper about that.
Well, that's up to the newspaper, we don't have any control over
The
that.
city can't produce something like that and publish it?
I don't know what to tell you, it'll be on our website, is it posted on the website yet, the charter ordinance?
But you didn't put much explanation with it. You just published the ordinance, which that brought up the questions that we have and why we brought the petition forward. I mean, all I'm asking is for more explanation when you want to, approve an ordinance such as this, and how it's going to affect us and our ability and our right to vote.
Okay,
That's what I'm questioning.
right. Well, I think I've answered most
I
of your
think you
questions.
did pretty good. I still don't understand why there wasn't more information available to begin with.
Well, it's published on the website, and the newspaper can print what they wanna print. I have no control over that.
You know, again, having sit in your seat
I mean, matter
before,
of fact, I believe the ordinance was the charter ordinance printed in the paper?
yes, it was.
Okay, well, there's your information there.
But it's not explicit as how it is affecting us as being able to vote on general obligation. Within capital improvement, your master plan, I've not seen a copy of the master plan. Is this something that needs to be rushed through in order for you to accomplish?
Sure, you can come to the city office and get a copy of it. We have
On the
it
master
available to
plan?
the public.
I'll be down tomorrow,
Okay.
so,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Anyone else?
To start with, I was really amazed because I was kind of wondering how hard it's going to be to get these signatures. When I went around and got these signatures, I contacted 84 people. Out of the 84, 82 signed that petition. I had 2 that didn't. But what I want to point out to you is sometimes I would think that, even though that's what this petition does call this to vote, because you guys wouldn't back up on the issue. But the Kansas Constitution under home power rule allows you to back off and regroup and think this over without bringing a referendum forward to vote. You can do that. You can drop this. They've done it in the past. I brought one forward years ago. I got enough signatures, they dropped it, and they looked different directions to do what they did. I don't know if he was administrator at that time or not. But, it says, "It shall not take effect until submitted to a referendum and approved by the majority of the electors voting thereon, and an election if called." That if called gives you the out to look different ways. We have other options. There's other bond options with state statutes that specifically deals with roadways and sidewalks, not all this other purchase stuff that's in this ordinance that you have. The other thing I want to clarify that I know for a fact is 189 that governs the sales tax on that industrial park. It can be brought back to vote because at this time it could be petitioned to do away with it, because the deadline run out on it. That can